is near, so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every byway. Oh, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. Oh, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, no, not me. I did it my way. Or what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the words he truly feels, and not the words the one who needs. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way.
There is absolutely nothing going on with me romantically.
Great. Can I buy you a drink after this?
I'd like that. Excuse me. And you're still the artist and introduce her.
I'm just gonna fool around, man. Like, just do a thing, whatever. I'll just.
Now I don't hardly know her, but I think I could love her. The one backed by 30 years of innovation and developed by a world-leading scientists. The one simple step to your best dream. The one that delivers results you can see. The one that works. The one for you. This is the one. Augustina Spotter.
Friendship laugh.
I walked out finding.
I guess this time you're really I heard your suitcase say goodbye. As my broken heart lies bleeding. You say true love, it's suicide. You say you cried 1,000 rivers, and now you're swimming for the shore. You left me drowning in my tears, and you won't save me anymore. Pray to God to give me one more chance, girl. I'll be there for you. These 5 words I swear to you. When you breathe, I wanna be the air for you. I'll be there for you. I live and I die for you. I still sun from the sky for you. Words can't say what love can do. I'll be there for you. I know you know it's good time. Now they have their own hiding place. Well, I can't promise you tomorrow, but I can't buy back yesterday. And baby, you know my hands are dirty. But I wanted to be your Valentine. I'll be the water when you get thirsty, baby. When you get drunk, I'll be the wine. I'll be there for you. These 5 words I swear to you. When you breathe, I wanna be the air for you. I'll be there for you. I live and I die for you. I feel the sun from the sky. Words can't say what love can do.
miss your birthday, baby. I wish I'd see you blow those candles out. I'll be there for you. These 5 words I swear to you. When you breathe, I wanna be there for you. I'll be there for you. I live and I die for you. I feel the sun from the sky for you. Words can't say what love can do. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. These 5 words I swear to you. When you breathe, I wanna be there for you. I'll be there for you. I live and I die for you. Still the sun from the sky for you. Words can't say what love can do. I'll be there for you.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Long time no talk to. Happy Mother's Day to all of you moms out there and all of you aunts and friends and neighbors and dads too. If you're a single dad, especially, but even if you're a dad like Christopher Watts, you know, working full time, picking the kids up from the daycare center, fixing them dinner, giving them their baths, Happy Mother's Day to you too. Not to him in particular, but you know what I'm saying. So I hope y'all had a great day. I understand in Australia that Mother's Day was yesterday. There's kind of that time lag thing going on. So happy belated Mother's Day to you Aussies. So what is the scoop droop? Did you watch the Lori Vallow Daybell trial? Talk about Mother of the Year material. Woo, doggy. Does it bug you guys that her niece seemed to be kind of like pretty aware of a lot of things? And evidently she thought there was nothing wrong with all that measuring people's spirits and stuff. And that one friend of hers, like they bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. Talisa, thank you for wondering. I will say it's been kind of an interesting time frame, a very interesting time frame. In fact, just a week ago, I was in a car accident. Nothing major, thank goodness. Nothing major. It wasn't my fault. And the guy who hit me actually was very nice. He felt bad. I think he meant it. He said he felt bad many times. And I remember when it happened, about an hour later, I was telling a friend of mine, I have to do a live chat tonight. I have to tell everyone about the car accident. Like,
Isn't that funny that that even came into my head? I was like, yeah, I got to do a live chat so I can tell you guys all about it. It happened so fast, too. It was so surprising. Like, it shocked me. And it was so loud. Of course, the vehicle that hit me was a full-size pickup truck. The only way I can describe it is kaboom. It was like so fast. Kaboom. Like really bad. A super loud noise. And it was very jarring. It was very unsettling, of course. And it reminded me of the car accident that injured my neck many years ago. Many, many years ago. And boy, let me tell you, that was hell. So I spent a little bit of time really hoping and praying that I didn't lose my balance and have problems with my eyesight and have all sorts of pain. And I am happy to report that I don't have any of those symptoms. So I'm so thankful. Oh my goodness. Yes, the verdict was amazing, wasn't it? Special case has awesome verdict. Yes, I think there were 6 convictions, right? Murder, and I think it was conspiracy to commit murder too for Tammy, JJ, and Tylee. Yeah, I think it's weird, Special K. I just think it's weird because both of the Melanies seem to think that she was totally fine. Do you guys wonder what more they may have known? And to Lisa, before the car accident, even before that, I got sick. I'm trying to think. 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. Man, I was sick again. I'm like, what the heck? I didn't take the test because just like in December when I was so sick, I didn't want to know. I figured it wouldn't help me feel any better if I tested positive for the C word. So I didn't take the test. It was funny. I did call my doctor's office at one point because I kept getting sicker. And that was their first question, of course, was whether or not I took the test. And I said, nope. And I have no plans on taking the test either because I don't think it's going to help me feel healthier if I find out that's what it is. I don't know. That's like put the blinders on. What you don't know can't hurt you, right? But yeah, that just kicked my butt for like 2.5 weeks. Kicked my butt. And I can pretty much tell you there have been 3 times when I think it may have been possible that I was sick like that. You know what I'm saying? Without saying that word. The first time was in February, whatever year that was, before they started closing down everything. It was like 3 weeks before. And I'm so glad that if I was going to get sick, that I got sick before I knew all about what was going on. Because had I known, oh my gosh, I would have been sicker, I'm sure. I'm being silly, really. But when that happened, I caught that from my physical therapist. And in December, I know exactly who I caught it from. And when I shouldn't say I had that because I don't know if I had that, but when I got sick, like a month and a half ago, I knew exactly who I got it from. Like, if you're sick, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't pretend like you're not. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't go into the stores, I didn't go cough on anybody. When I was sick, I kept my distance, you know, but a lot of people don't. I do have good news since I have seen you last. Remember, I don't know when it was, but it was quite a while ago, when my endocrinologist told me that in the springtime, when I saw him for my springtime appointment, that if my numbers are still improving, then I don't have to keep taking the medicine for diabetes. And I saw my endocrinologist for the springtime appointment, and it was so cool. He looked at the computer, he saw my lab results, he looked at me, and he said, "You did it. You did it. You turned diabetes around." And you know, I told him I was going to, and I think he kind of thought, like, yeah, okay, that's a nice plan, or that's a good goal to have, right? But I told him I was going to turn it around. And I didn't do it on my own. I had the help of Dr. Dan, the pharmacist who butted his way into my life. And he said, "I can help you turn it around." And I thought, yeah, you're a weirdo, but you know what? I was ready for anything. Because, boy, he seemed really confident that he could help me turn around diabetes. So he told me exactly what to do, and I did exactly what he told me to do. And you know what? My endocrinologist confirmed it. Confirmed it. Poof. And the way he said it was so cool. He's like, "You did it. You did it. You turned diabetes around." So it can be done, ladies and gentlemen. It can be done. So that's some good news for sure. I had a really cool job offer too. A really cool job offer. And I was just like jumping up and down and going, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." But the logistics of it all were next to impossible. I won't tell you where or what, but it was in a location that is very, very expensive, like super duper expensive. It's probably, I don't know. I don't know all the statistics about where it is how much, but it's right up there. And when I dug into the whole housing thing, it was like, ooh, ooh. So I did have a couple of weeks there where I was like, oh, yes, yes, this would be so fun. But then it was like, the housing issue, not so fun. Not so fun. So I did just a professional withdrawal, no thank you. You know, I don't know. It would be fun though. Oh my gosh, it'd be fun. Though I did learn after I sent my professional little letter, I did learn that the spiders there are huge. So I thought, well, it's kind of like the job I turned down in another location a few years back. And after I turned it down, I learned that there was actually an alligator in the Walmart parking lot that week. So I thought, yeah, maybe that's a sign, right? Not that I go to Walmart, but if they're that comfortable that they're cruising through the Walmart parking lot, yeah. Oh, thank you, Talisa. And I would say this. that whole thing with the guy who hit me, like, I'm glad he was really friendly. I'm glad that he even pulled over. I mean, he could have just kept going and I wouldn't have, you know what I mean? I'm glad he pulled over. I wish he hadn't have hit me, and I wish he, had been watching where he was going and all that, of course. But it was so important to me that he actually apologized. He took full blame for it because it was completely his fault. But still, you know, he accepted total responsibility and he apologized and he felt bad. And he actually was kind of weird. Like he was just so kind that I just thought, you know what? People need to get back to just being kind when they're a dipshit in traffic, right? Good for him. Good on him for pulling right over and for apologizing and for owning up to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think too often people are afraid to state the obvious because they don't want to be like blamed or whatever. He accepted blame immediately. He felt terrible and that actually was nice. And it's sad. It's a sad statement for our society when somebody who actually pulls over and apologizes and admits that he's at fault is the anomaly, right? Many years ago, when my neck was injured in that rear end accident, that lady was a whack job. She literally was running through the intersection and she told the sheriff's deputy that she didn't see me at the corner, that she was going to run through. There was a stop sign pulling onto the highway. She was going to run the stop sign. She was going 35 to 40 miles an hour to run through the stop sign. And she said to the sheriff's deputy, I didn't see her sitting there. She said to me, I didn't see you sitting there, as if me sitting there properly at the stop sign was, well, obviously in her way. You know what I'm saying? And then, guess what? I lost my balance immediately when she came plowing into my car. I had a Ford Explorer at the time. My little one-owner Ford Explorer. Beautiful car. Loved it. The best car ever for a real estate broker, let me tell you. That experience, that entire experience, not just the physical injury, but the disappointment that I experienced over and over again. I used to have faith in the sheriff's department. I used to think, I used to be a police dispatcher. I used to have full faith in law enforcement. But when I told that sheriff's deputy that I lost my balance, right at the scene, immediately following the crash, and I told him something's wrong. I lost my balance. Something's wrong. My head, my neck, something's wrong. He ignored my need for emergency medical help. And it gets worse. The one hospital in town missed my neck injury. Absolutely missed my neck injury. They diagnosed me with Lyme's disease. I kid you not. I did not have Lyme's disease. the emergency room doctor actually asked me if I had been traveling. Well, of course I've been traveling. So he decided I had Lyme's disease. And then he prescribed a drug to treat Lyme's disease that does not even treat Lyme's disease. So, of course, my symptoms worsened because of my neck injury. My eyesight was affected. My balance was affected. I was in pain. And I had to drive 150 miles to see a doctor who had a clue, who immediately told me, you don't have Lyme's disease. That experience really took the wind out of my sails for trusting even the one hospital in town, or even trusting the sheriff's deputy, or even trusting that when you're sitting at an intersection, that some whack job isn't going to come flying into the back of your vehicle because she planned on running the intersection. So I will say this, it was refreshing at least that the person who crashed into my car last week owned up to it immediately. He actually cared, like seriously, although I think he was probably kind of worried about me because I was kind of like shaky feeling, and he kept rubbing my arm, my shoulder. I was wearing a sleeveless dress, and he kept patting my arm and rubbing like the top of my arm. And he kept going, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. It was my fault, my fault. It's like, good for him. Good on him, like I said. Good on him. No, kitty witty, it wasn't some out of the way country hospital. No. There used to be two hospitals in town. And I think that when the federal government offered incentives for hospitals that were the one hospital in town, I think that's when they bought out the other hospital. Because I think they get big dollars every year for being the one hospital in town. I don't think that's what the incentives were meant for. I don't think that the whole idea was to remove the competition, right? But let me tell you something. I have heard one horror story after another about that hospital, which is why people like me don't mind driving 150 miles to a good doctor. That's the same hospital that had a bunch of doctors in this like professional suite, whatever, right on the hospital grounds. And one of the doctors had this big, ad campaign going that she was all about women's health and metabolism, and she was all about, menopause and hormones and all that stuff, right? Well, if you dare to check into whatever her fancy schmancy program is, then what you'll find is yourself in a meeting where she's promoting, get this, an MLM, some kind of soy product that she buys from some supplier in Canada. And she has the initials MD after her name. I was shocked. And I was even more shocked when, at the first break of that little meeting, there were only two of us making a beeline for the elevator. Soy products? Are you kidding me? Honey, if you're concerned about your hormones, I'm thinking soy might not be the direction to go, but I'll bet you the profit margin was huge. She had business cards with the name of the MLM right on her business card. The lady on the elevator, the two of us, the only two of us who got the hell out of there fast, man, we were laughing all the way out to our cars in the parking lot. We were just laughing. But think of all those other people who sat there believing that soy products from an MLM in Canada would be a good idea. The price of hope, evidently. The price of hope. So yeah, so it's been kind of a rocky couple of months, I'll tell you that. Woo. When that guy lambasted into me, I'm like, oh my gosh. That kaboom was so loud. I just, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And the very first thing I thought about was when I got kaboomed back when my neck was injured. Like, you just don't ever forget the sound of that kaboom. I'll go ahead and put the link in the thingy. If any of you want to hop up here, feel free. So back to the Lori Vallow Daybell routine. Okay, think about this. So her friend Melanie is evidently subscribing to a lot of her beliefs. Her niece Melanie is evidently subscribing to a lot of her beliefs. And then her niece's husband got shot at. Really? Hmm. That brother of Lori Vallow Daybell, Alex, I think, Alec Cox or Alex Cox, was he running around shooting at people? Was he the person who shot at Tammy Daybell 1 week before she died? Did you see the video of Lori and Chad sitting poolside when she got served with that court order to produce the children? They looked pretty relaxed. How on earth could any mother take part in the murder of her child? And in that case, it was two of her children were murdered. There was something really sad that I saw with that trial. She was evidently, I think, texting her lover boy, which, by the way, think about this. This will sound kind of shallow, but I don't care. Her husband was hot. He was hot, he was built, and he was making $500,000 a year. let's review that list. He was hot, he was built, and he made $500,000 a year. And she had an affair with Loser Boy? What on earth was she thinking? Why on earth would she have ever cheated on her husband with that scumbucket? And then Tammy Daybell, married to the scumbucket for decades, had 5 kids with him, had to work her ass off at the library because her scumbucket husband evidently was all about selling his, theories on how the world's going to end soon or whatever. I don't know. I haven't read any of his crap and I don't intend to. But he supposedly had some experience. I think he was diving in the water or something and he hit his head. Yeah, I bet he hit his head. And he supposedly saw the other side. And then that supposedly gifted him with all sorts of, spiritual gifts. Baloney. I think it probably made him nuttier than he already was. He was a gross specimen of man. I'm talking just a gross specimen of man. All the way around. So, why on earth, when she had such a hot husband who obviously loved her, who obviously doted on her, and who could obviously afford to keep her in the clothes she likes to wear, right? And the hair and the makeup and the whole bit. I mean, come on. She loved to travel. She loved to spend money. Well, hubby made $500,000 a year. Why on earth would she have traded that in for somebody whose job was to dig holes at the cemetery? Yes, Special K, those text messages were gross. It is just so gross. Just, yeah. So she has this beautiful husband who, if you listen to him, I think there was one interview where he was begging the police officer to help. He went to court and got a court order for Lori to be tested. He was trying to get help for her. He knew she was acting goofball. He talked to her brother, Adam, and Adam was going to help too. Not Alex, Adam. He was trying to help her. Oh, maybe that's it, Special K. Maybe she was like quack job enough that she needed to hear Chad Daybell's weird stuff. Yeah, totally gross. Exactly right, Special K. Well, there you go, Apple Go. Maybe the two of them, I'm talking the gross boyfriend and Lori Vallow Daybell, maybe the two of them were really the perfect match for how evil they both were. Think about that shooting when Alex Cox shot and killed her husband. Lori Vallow had taken his phone and he wanted his phone. He was there to pick up JJ, to take JJ to school. And she took his phone. What kind of a twit takes somebody's phone and goes running around the house with his phone? Why wasn't Alex Cox arrested right then and there? Did they believe their story? Did they honestly believe that Alex was down on the floor and that Lori Vallow's husband was hitting him with a bat? I mean, didn't he play pro ball? Wasn't he built? I think if he wanted to hit Alex with a bat, he wouldn't have been right on top of him like Lori Vallow told the police. Like, how do you swing a bat if you're right on top of someone fighting? And as tough as he was, as athletic as he was, as fit as he was, if he wanted to hit Alex Cox with a bat, then Alex Cox would have been hit with a bat. And then Alex told the police that he went into where he was sleeping because he stayed the night or whatever, which is all weird. And he went in and retrieved his firearm and came out and, supposedly acted in self-defense. Sorry, that is not acting in self-defense to say, hang on a minute, person who's supposedly hitting me with a bat, I'm going to go get my gun now and come back out and we'll resume this in a minute, but just hold on a minute. No, that story doesn't make sense. Not at all. I think they planned that murder. And I think it's very sad that they got away with it for so long. Had they not gotten away with it, then little JJ and Tylee would be alive today. They had an opportunity when Lori Vallow went into the police station to lie about her husband. They had the opportunity right then and there to put her in custody. Her husband told the police that there was a pickup order for her. He went to court. The court ordered for her to be evaluated based on the facts of the case, that she was exhibiting seriously strange behavior. She was a danger, and he knew it. And he took the proper steps. And the judge ordered her to be evaluated. But what did they do at the police station? They told her about the court order. But they said, it isn't like we can do it right away because, it takes time for that order to be processed. What? If that judge ordered for her to be picked up, then why did the police allow her to leave that police station with Tylee? Did those police officers think, oh, gee, it's just a judge saying it? Oh, gee, it's just a court order. Oh, gee, nothing to worry about, right? No. Did those law enforcement officers believe that they knew more about the law than they knew? Did they believe it was up to them to go against a court order? Did they think they were smarter than the judge? It seems to me if a law enforcement agency is told there is a court order by the husband, who, by the way, was then murdered, seems to me that they would have maybe stalled her for a while until they got it faxed over or emailed or sent somehow, however, stool pigeon. Somehow, maybe make a phone call, confirm that there's a court order, maybe make a phone call and say, hey, send it to us here, we'll go ahead and serve it. Why did they learn of a court order for her to be picked up to be evaluated and immediately tell her that, it would take some time for it to be processed? What? A court order is a court order. Tylee was alive. Tylee was right there at the police station with her mother. I think that Melanie friend was there too. All talking about how terrible her husband was. Really? What did he do wrong? I mean, even if you just listen to that interview, I guess you'll call it, even with what they were saying, it's like, what? I mean, that could have been a clue. Didn't she clean out the bank accounts and take his car from the airport? Yes, the Ganon case. Whoa, that's a bad one. I got to tell you something. I have no sympathy whatsoever for Lori Vallow Daybell. I have no sympathy for her at all. I think she is evil. I think she's a bitch. I think she's a witch. And I think that she is as evil as they come. But you guys are probably going to kick me here with this one. Somebody I do have some sympathy for is Leticia. I think when Lori Vallow Daybell was exhibiting signs of cray-cray, I think she was aware. I think she was out of control. I think she was used to her privileged antics. I think she got away with a lot of nasty stuff all of her life. I think she was lazy. And I think she was a manipulator. I think she was dishonest. I think she was creepy. And I think if she was a man, we'd all be agreeing she was an asshole. But Leticia, I think it's different with the case of Ganon Stauch. I think Leticia Stauch was actually ill. I think she was more like an Andrea Yates type of ill. I think she needed help. I think she was begging for help, and I think she was ignored. I also have the opinion that Leticia was already being supervised. I think because of Lori Vallow's husband, the rich one, not the icky one, the hot, good looking man as he built, intelligent, hardworking, kind, loving husband who made $500,000 a year. I think she was a privileged little, I'll say it, bitch. I think she was immature. If you listen to anything that she's talking on, I'm talking Lori Vallow, she sounds like a twit. She sounds like a 12-year-old. She sounds so disgusting. But when you listen to the stuff that Leticia is saying, she sounds bona fide in need of immediate help, like right now. I don't think Leticia was out to hurt anybody. I think she was suffering a lot with some serious mental health issues. I think that's the difference. I think Lori Vallow was evil and selfish and weird. I think Leticia was sick, like really sick. Oh, Miss CD says, nope, just a manipulator. Oh, okay, tell me. I'm listening. Dr. Lewis failed on the stand big time. So tell me, Miss CD, do you think that Leticia is evil? Or do you think she was like flipping from one personality to another, maybe? And maybe one of her personalities was evil? Ooh, okay. Then I might be off base with the Leticia stuff. I'll tell you one thing that both cases have in common is there were children there who were subjected to danger. And I don't think the danger suddenly came as a surprise. I think the danger in both cases either was known or certainly should have been known and obvious. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, Miss CD is opening my eyes here. Miss CD says that she thinks that it was a planned murder. Ooh, Mrs. Ben is feeling violent tonight. Ooh. Okay, so they're both evil. Is that what you guys think? Does everyone else, do you guys agree with Miss CD? Am I missing the mark with Leticia? Because I listened to some of those audio clips and she just sounds so obvious. Like she was flipping it. I'm not saying she has multiple personalities, but she seemed to be flipping from one to another to another. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that, Mrs. Ben. I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, then. Do you think that she presented to people in her life as being dangerous and evil? Because I'll tell you, look at a photo of her. Her eyes are black, like she doesn't, like she's not there. Do you guys think that people in her life also saw that? Because I don't think that either one of them suddenly turned weird. Like in the Lori Vallow case, it sounded like the defense was trying to make it sound like she was some innocent victim of Chad Daybell. Hey, Lisa. Lisa's here. I don't think Lori was a victim of Chad's at all. I think he was wacky, and I think he had, whatever weird story going. But she had weird stuff going at the same time. And do you get the impression that between the two of them, their IQ probably didn't even hit 100? I mean, and that friend and that relative both, like, yikes. How did they graduate from high school? Okay, if I can figure out how, I'm not sure. I'll try. Let's see. It'll take me a minute here. Here's Kellish. I will try. Let's see here. What is it I'm looking for exactly? What do you think would be the most interesting to listen to? Let's look for, I'm thinking out loud here. Let's go ahead and look for those text messages being read, and then we can point out the obvious about those. Chilling text messages, 13 minutes. Can you hear it or no? Oh, I don't think it's coming through. Okay, I'm going to try to do it another way. Oh, here's one I want to listen to, where Chad tells Lori that they're searching the property. Whoa, I haven't seen this one yet. This says Chad Daybell's children says he was framed. Really? I'm looking for the thing where he's telling her that they were searching the property. I'm still searching for it. Okay, this might have it. I'm not sure.
There's new witness testimony today in the Lori Vallow Daybell trial.
Prosecutors presenting new evidence to the jury, including a key phone call between Lori and her husband, Chad Daybell. Daniel Woodruff is live in Boise, Idaho, where he's been all week long with the very latest from the courtroom. Daniel.
That phone call between Chad and Lori Daybell zeroing in on the search for and eventual discovery of Lori's two children, their remains found on Chad Daybell's property. Also today, new testimony about the investigation into the suspicious death of Chad Daybell's longtime wife. This is the phone call jurors heard in court from June 9th, 2020, between Lori and Chad Daybell. Not long after this call, investigators found the remains of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan on Chad Daybell's property. Both he and Lori are accused of killing them. Also today, Fremont County, Idaho Sheriff's Lieutenant Joe Powell testified about the investigation into the death of Tammy Daybell, Chad's longtime wife.
Because of all the suspicious circumstances.
Jurors saw photos of Tammy's body being exhumed in Utah and just before her autopsy. Prosecutors say she died by asphyxiation at the hands of another person. The defense, though, pushed back.
Are you aware of where Lori Vallow was when Tammy did?
So did you hear that? When Chad Daybell called Lori Vallow Daybell, well, she was already in jail, I think. He said they're searching his property. And she sounded downright scared. Those were her children. Those were her babies. And there she was, dancing to the ukulele on the beach in Hawaii 2 weeks after Tammy was murdered. Within a very short time after 2 of her children were murdered. Kind of reminds me of the Darlie Routier case, how she did the silly string thing. Like, I'm sorry, that has to matter. If you're going to try to present a defense that she was somehow bamboozled by the supposedly smooth-talking weirdo, then probably you don't want to have any pictures of her with a big smile on her face at the beach. You know, one part that I heard that was really, just so sad. She was either talking to Chad Daybell or she was texting him. I can't remember for sure. But she was wanting him, I guess, to go into his little portal in his closet to see whether or not her own daughter, Tylee, had switched back between whatever different identities, because, you know, the weirdo Chad Daybell had everyone believing they had all these different identities going. And Lori Daybell said, or at that time, I think Lori Vallow said that she wanted him to check to see, to check on Tylee's spirit, right? because she said that Tylee was cleaning her room and acting really nice. I wonder if Tylee was sensing that her nut job mother was planning something really bad. I wonder. Well, I'm kind of curious what kind of deals the Melanies pulled, because I don't think that it makes any sense at all that the Melanies would have been tight with Lori during any of that time frame. Any of it. So what kind of deals did they pull? What kind of protection did they have? I don't know. Good point, Special K. What about Zulima? She's married to this guy who's running around shooting at people and shooting people. She knew him for how long? She marries him? Really? And she didn't know anything? Do you guys know who I mean? What's his name? Oh, who's the reporter? I think it's East Idaho News or something. He actually, I think he went to Hawaii and found them and said, "Where are your children, Lori? Lori, where are your children? Why aren't you looking for your children?" He did a lengthy interview of that Melanie, the friend. Nate. Yes, Lisa. That's who it is. Nate. Yes, Special K. He did a very long interview of that Melanie. And at the very beginning, he says, you know, it took me a long time to find you or something like that, or it took a long time for you to get back to me, or however he said it. And she does this very giddy looking big smile, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She has that smile on her face throughout the interview. Yes, Nate Eaton. That's who he is. Nate Eaton with the East Idaho News. That interview of her just sends the radar spinning. Does she like attention? Does she like to talk baby talk? Is that a thing for her and her good friend Lori? Is baby talk how they communicate normally? I'm sorry, it's disgusting. And then the pious act the self-righteous bullshit. Sorry, but if your best friend doesn't seem to mind when 2 of her kids are murdered, if that's your best friend, reevaluate your life, seriously. Reevaluate. And maybe you shouldn't be in front of the camera smiling big. Just my opinion. Oh yeah, the baby talk is just disgusting. Icky. Icky, icky. Please, ladies, if you're over, I don't know, 3, stop baby talking. Unless you're talking to one of your grandbabies, then it's okay. You can talk to your babies and to your grandbabies however you want to talk. You can use baby talk if you want. But you know what I'm saying? That interview that Nate did of that Melanie, ugh, drippy, weird. I agree. I think it is a cult. Even a cult of just a handful of people. I definitely think it's a cult, a very dangerous cult. And you know, even the friends, there was one who testified, or maybe they just played the thing of, no, she testified. Evidently, Chad told her to become Lori's friend. And then she sat on the stand and said that Lori threatened to kill her, threatened to cut her up. Really? Did you run out the door? Did you grab your suitcase and run out the door at that second? Oh, I love it. Hilarious, Mrs. B. No pun intended. Hilarious. When I saw that interview of the Melanie, the friend Melanie, ick. Ick. That whole cult thing, I agree. Keller says cult also. I agree. But I think it's even worse than any sort of religious or spiritual or anything movement. I think they're a bunch of selfish weirdos who are trying to cash in on life insurance, which makes no sense. It makes me wonder if Lori maybe failed math class or something. Her husband made $500,000 a year. $500,000 a year. And she was attracted to Mr. Gravedigger? Like, the math just doesn't work. Yeah, she failed more than math for sure. I think so. I think SW was definitely math challenged from the get-go. I wonder if Leticia knew how to do math. I bet she did, because she actually got her master's degree. So she would have had to have made it through a few math classes along the way. Although, who knows, maybe she just bought a certificate online or something. Oh, she didn't? Leticia didn't have a degree? I thought she had her master's. I agree. Vile. What? Oh, I thought she had her master's. She didn't have her doctorate. Please tell me she didn't have her PhD. Oh my gosh, really? So they were lying about it? Oh my goodness, really? Oh my gosh. And she actually was offered employment with those lies. Oh, I love it. I love it. This is why they call me Pollyanna, you guys. Oh my gosh. So we just got Wattsed. Wattsed. We just got Wattsed. I believed it. I thought she had her master's. That's right up there with Christopher Watt's wife being a successful business person, an employee of a billion-dollar company, an executive, no less, a retired nurse. Wow, we got Wattsed. Man. I love it. Special K on a cornflakes packet in a Cracker Jack box. Amazing. So did her family know that she was lying about her degree? Did her lover boy husband know she was lying about her degree? I thought it was interesting when he was being questioned, when he testified, I think it was, somebody asked him if she had trouble holding down jobs, if Leticia had trouble holding down a job. And he said, no, she decided to leave each one of them, or something to that effect. Like kind of missing the entire point of the question. So did he know she was lying? And who decided to have her raising Ganon? I think he was a husband, and I think he was with his mistress the night before the murder. You know, Leticia said something weird in one of her phone conversations that were taped. Well, she said a lot of things that were weird. But she said something weird about deciding not to ask for permission for Ganon to miss school. Well, I wonder, ask who for permission? You know, we were told early on with the case of Christopher Watts, we were told that if Bella and Cece were not at the daycare center when it opened in the morning, that the authorities were going to be contacted immediately. Well, think about it. Why would Leticia have needed to ask anyone for permission for Ganon to miss school? I wonder, was there one of those, award-winning model program, family plans in place? I wonder, did they have caseworkers? Did they have someone knocking on the door to check on the kids to make sure the kids were safe? Did they have reason to believe that the kids weren't safe? Did they decide, oh, gee, they can go ahead and live there? Yeah, we'll just keep a good eye on them. Did they have them install video cameras in the house? Who did Leticia have to ask permission from for Ganon to miss school? Why was Leticia named as a guardian of Ganon? Ganon had two parents. Why was Leticia the one raising him? Did Ganon's dad get married to Leticia so he could have somebody to babysit his child? Was Leticia a babysitter? I guess if you're going to pick some woman to, fall in love with, air quotes, who'll then be available 24/7 to take care of your kids for you, try not to pick the crazy ones. Or, I guess, if you actually do love someone and you want to remarry, I'm not sure, but I think even before the divorce was final, there was a thing going on. But it makes sense then that you wouldn't expect your new wife to take on the full responsibility. Wouldn't it make sense that the bio parents would have been sharing that responsibility? I don't know. I wonder what the child support amount would have been for Ganon and his little sister to be raised by their bio mom. I wonder how much the child support would have been that would have had to have been paid to the bio mom. Was it a lot less expensive to get married to a crazy woman? Did she always act crazy? I mean, she was exhibiting some really weird signs, I think, during those phone calls. She sounded really goofy. And he didn't sound at all surprised by her goofiness. Oh, I didn't know that, Lisa. So bio mom knew Leticia. Did they play ball together? That softball team? What? Oh, so that would explain then the change in custody. Okay, got it. Okay, so they knew each other way ahead of time. Okay, got it. Well, that's always good to, start sleeping with your friend's husband, right? So the plot just thickened right there. Right. Yeah, I get that. Miss CD, I agree. Because they were taping it. I get that. I just, I think, wasn't it at one point where somebody asked if she seemed a lot different than normal or something? And didn't he say no?
Pretty manipulative, the way it sounds, of not just yourself, but others in her life. But you were married to her. So how bad was the manipulation? And maybe you see more of that now that the relationship is over. To what extent was she a manipulator?
I think that's one I'll leave alone. I let the public kind of make their own determination on that. I think we saw enough to see. Maybe I didn't see all of it, but she was pretty good at what she does. So.
Okay. I asked Landon this as well, but it would be pretty understandable for someone in your position to choose to not do interviews, not speak up. But you guys have done interviews since pretty early on in the process. I know you've had your points where you've asked for privacy, but you've been, in the grand scheme of things, pretty vocal. Why is that? And is there any part of that coming from wanting to be a voice for Ganon?
I think that's the totality of why I did it. Maybe going back into the previous question a little bit, I think we see that Tisha was very much about herself, and she was the star of the show, or tried to be the star of the show, and intentionally, every time I felt that was happening, I would offer a statement, or I shared a lot with my church and their Facebook page, and did a few interviews along the way. That was the most important part, that this was about him. And I keep drawing on what the judge said. I think when the judge scolded someone in the crowd towards the end of the trial, he brought that up. He's like, this is about that little boy. And he also, once again, was fair and said it was, about someone who might spend the rest of their life in prison. But, the gravity of the situation is really about Ganon and what happened to him.
Okay. I know we've heard throughout this that Ganon was a mama's boy. He loved Landon. But there's something to be said for a bond between a father and his son. Was there anything that you can tell us to give us some true insight into that relationship that only you now can speak to, that special bond between father and son?
He was my firstborn son. I have another baby son now, and I call Melissa's children my sons and daughter as well. He was my firstborn, and at that time, my only son. And I've shared a few moments along the way, like in my statement, I shared about, we're so excited about beating the Zelda game, and just so many things along the way. And I think I wish I had all my pictures from his life here, because that just really sums it up, the different things, moments we shared, playing Ninja Turtles, or, he loved Thomas the Train when he was a little boy, and just sitting there and spending those moments and hours with him, just going trains around the tracks, those are the bonding moments, and those are the memories that I want to get back, and I want to get back and experience some more. And I've shared that those are some of the things that I've lost, trying to stay away from the pain. But the 11 years I had with him were special, and best times we could have possibly had. We did the world, went to Hawaii, just shared all kinds of great memories, and just amazing time. And we made the most of it, like I've already said. So.
I know yesterday we saw a photo of him holding up a sign that said future soldier, I believe, or something to that effect. He was only 11, and I didn't know what I was going to do at 11. Right. But did he ever express any desires of what he wanted to be when he grew up? And secondary to that, did you ever have a vision as his father of what you saw him becoming in his future?
Yeah, so I came, obviously you've heard I'm in the military now still. Came from a family history of that. My grandpa served in World War II in the Navy, and other members of my family as well throughout the years. So yeah, I had told my children, I expect you to, when you get older, maybe not the military if you choose not to, but some form of service needs to be a part of your life. It needs to be kind of at the foundation of your life. Once again, drawing on what I've said, it's the people in our lives that matter, and the people that surround us. And so what we can do to serve others, whether it's working in the kids ministry at church, or going to the soup kitchen or whatever, different versions of that. But that was a huge part of how I was raising them. And if you ask Leda, she'll still talk about, should I join the Air Force or the Army, jokingly in her mind. But no, Ganon, what he wanted to be was a video game designer. That's was his big thing that he always said. And I actually was a little surprised when I got that picture from his 4th grade teacher. I remember getting it in the moment when they did that. It was, I think they went through a few questions of what do you want to be when you grow up, put it on a sign, and I was blown away when he said future U.S. soldier. But it just goes to back to our bond, like you said, and back to my intentionality and how I was raising them to have a core or foundation or mind for service.
Okay. With Ganon's case, obviously, it gained attention locally very quickly and eventually across the United States. And I can't point to an example, but I wouldn't be surprised if people outside the United States have heard of this. But not every missing child or child death investigation gains that kind of momentum. attention and the support that it did? What made it different?
I don't know. I can't speak for the mind of everyone. I feel deep down inside that Leticia's actions drove a lot of that. It was kind of a polarizing thing. You know, of course, everybody has a heart. I say everybody, but the community at large has a heart for children. And I've wondered that same thing, too, as I've seen other news reports of, missing 12-year-old or this happened to us, horrible thing happened to a child here or there. Why did this land on our shoulders? But as we learned, ultimately through what the judge said, and I've already referenced this, the heinousness of the crime, it warrants the response. And I don't think that's selfish of me to say. I didn't understand how horrible it was, truly. For me, it is horrible, but when the judge said that in his closing, that impacted me to my core, that this was truly a horrible, horrible thing that happened to my son. And I think, especially once the body was found across the country, and then the autopsy came out, and we learned about what happened to him, I kept the momentum going, and if it would have ever faltered or fell off, probably not, based on how it started, but that definitely kept the momentum going of community support and just how many people are doing it.
Okay, I think one of the other reporters already kind of sort of asked you this a little bit, but you said yesterday that you want Leticia stripped of your last name. How infuriating was it for you, and if that's the wrong word, please correct me, to have her referred to, and this whole case has been known as the Stauch case, Leticia Stauch. I mean, how was that for the past 3 years, knowing that was the name attached to her?
This is going pretty deep on this one, but think about it. Based on her searches, we learned from the evidence she was not happy with me, and that's fine. She didn't want to be there. We've established that. I've attested to that as well. So then why is it so important to keep a hold of that? She didn't show up to our divorce hearing when that finally went through. So why is it so important to hold on to that, except possibly to stick it to the man, if you will? So it's pretty infuriating, because I know the intent behind it is to have that being said aloud in the public, and that I would be hurt by that. But once again, I'm not going to let that take over my emotions and control me. I did state that in my closing. I don't change it. It's hard and it's infuriating.
I'm just going to look over my notes here. I think I probably asked you this. Yeah, I think that's all I had, unless there's something that you feel needs to be said that hasn't been covered throughout all of this.
I think we're good where we're at now.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Bill, thanks. Like a fire incident, the crews are actually camping at that site, and they'll be there for the next 3 days. Now to our continuing coverage, the family of Ganon Stauch spoke to our News 5's Asher Portillo today after his stepmother, Leticia, found guilty yesterday of his brutal murder. She was sentenced to 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Ashley's been covering that trial for us every day. She's in studio with more about how they are reacting a day after the verdict and the sentence. Ashley?
Rob, it was tears of joy, excitement, relief, and now the opportunity to finally heal. That's exactly how Ganon Stauch's parents are describing today. They said the biggest weight of their lives has finally been lifted off of their shoulders. Justice has finally been served for Ganon Stauch and his family.
But to hear it was words that I've been waiting for 3 years, dreading years. So it was relieving.
I think today the dust hasn't really settled yet, but we're just trying to relax.
Al Stauch wants to focus on the good memories of Ganon. He said he'll never move on, but he can finally move forward and begin healing.
He would want us to be happy to get along, for me and his mom to have a good relationship as far as the kids go, and that's what we're going to do. And that's the best way we can honor him, Ashley.
Al added the past 3 years has been filled with so much anger, pain, and emotion. His son did nothing wrong.
But to take the life of an innocent little boy, and I'll repeat it again, I think his only crime was that he loved his mom more than his stepmom, and that kind of sums it up.
When asked what one of the most impactful parts of the trial was, Al said it was when Judge Gregory Warner said that facts in this case are some of the most horrific he's ever seen.
That hit me at the core. Yeah, it's my son, and for me, the loss, I can't explain how great the loss is.
Ganon's mom, Landon Bullard, said she can finally breathe. During her victim impact statement yesterday, she wanted to remind Leticia of all the love she had before Ganon's death.
It is a form of guilt, in a sense. It's like, what else could I have given? She had it all, and she took it all. But she is not going to get a sick form of victory. And we're going to keep going on, and we're going to stay strong, Lena and Nova.
Landon said the not guilty by reason of insanity plea was calculated. She also spoke about a video that was played a handful of times during trial. That video taken by Leticia one day before Ganon's disappearance. In the video, you can hear Ganon saying, "I'm just worried about my burns."
You had no business making that video. None. Knowing what you are going to do, it's already planned. Had no business making that video of my son crying. You can hear the fear and love still in his voice, begging.
And Landon also said Leticia was very calculated and manipulative, but she did not fool anybody. That's exactly what she said. Al also said Ganon was, of course, a very loving child. He loved his family. He loved his siblings. He says he'll always remember Ganon as a boy with a huge heart, joyful, and always telling all of those silly jokes that he told all the time.
Boy, it is a tough time, but they are trying to move on and heal. Now, one of the things that was striking as we were watching those victim statements yesterday, Diane and I, seeing the emotion in that courtroom from the mom and the dad. We saw the judge wiping away tears. Obviously, those statements, and just this whole horrific crime touched people so deeply. But the one key was Leticia never seemed to show any kind of emotion at all. Was that consistent with her during the course of the trial? You were there every day.
Yeah, I was there every day, and really throughout the entire trial, Leticia Stauch didn't have many emotions at times. She was just facing forward. Often her head was down. You heard no emotional crying yesterday, and really everyone in the courtroom yesterday, you saw them crying. We heard all of the gasps, Rob, from the back of the courtroom. You mentioned the judge at one point had to wipe away tears. District Attorney Michael Allen had to wipe away tears. Everybody was embracing one another, and I sat, right behind Leticia Stauch. Not once did we see any remorse, any emotion, nothing. We also know the judge did ask her, "Do you have any words for the family? Do you want to say anything?"
Right.
Leticia said no.
Right. She just wanted to ask for some specific prison to be sent to, and the judge said, "Well, I don't have that authority to do that." The DOC said that. But yeah, it seemed like the only emotion we saw during the whole trial from her was when she was flipping off people surreptitiously during the courtroom early on, and the judge admonished her for that. But anyway, sociopath, put her away for life.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Great job covering that Stauch trial. After Stauch was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison, a rainbow actually appeared outside, and you posted that photo. It was very impressive and stimulating for everybody. There's your tweet.
Yeah, this is a photo that I was able to take actually yesterday after the live shots as that verdict and sentence came in. This is probably about 6:20 or 6.
Statement that you gave yesterday, where you really poured your heart out, and it seemed like you let out everything that she possibly been holding in for a long time when it came to the defendant sitting there. Can you talk about how you found the strength to sit there day in and day out in the trial with the defendant just a few feet away?
As you guys know, it was as anybody, not just a parent. We would have anger sitting there, especially with someone that is so emotionless. But Ganon was my reminder. He wouldn't want me to mess up his story. So I feel like I know he was there with me, and I had to get it out. Didn't feel like I needed to practice. I just needed to get it out. And I could have said some harmful things, and that would have taken away from who Ganon is. And so he allowed me to get through it.
Would it have made any difference if the judge had allowed you to address her directly?
wrote out the paper actually directly to her, and then Claudia, my victim's advocate lady, who was wonderful, she told me, she said, you have to direct it to the judge. So as you probably heard, with my statement, I said you a lot, and then I had Tisha capitalized, and so there was a lot of portions where it was directed her in a way, but I had a lot of emotions, and it was very fluctuable in that time frame. I had anger. I wanted her to hear it. Didn't know if I'd ever have the opportunity to say those things, but at least she heard it. I don't care how she reacts, and I think that's how Ganon would have liked to be portrayed as well.
You said she was emotionless.
Yes.
Throughout the entire thing. Were you wanting to see something from her?
It would have been nice, but I kind of prepared myself with help of the DA team and victims advocacy and we
give to me nothing confrontation was that I'm going to take this down because I want to be at the front of whatever's going on to find this little boy. And then I talk about hope. I asked his mom, she was going to the store that day or the next day. I said, hey, why don't you go buy another toothbrush so that when Ganon comes home, he has a toothbrush. It's a little bit behind the scenes, but yeah, I think I had a feeling the entire time, but there was always that hope. You never lose hope, right?
Absolutely. Was there ever a moment where you hoped that she was telling the truth, or felt like she actually was telling the truth? Because it seemed that she was off top the suspect, that there wasn't really anyone else that was being looked for other than the names that she was throwing out there. But if I could back it up just a bit, because I know you mentioned that you've had to have those phone calls with her on other non-consequential things. Were there any red flags with her that you see now, looking back at your life with her as your wife?
So I'm going to say, so you asked two questions, and I'm not trying to go back to court here, but the first one was about when I first knew, and talk about being the suspect. So the suspect part, I'm going to leave that to the authorities. That's their lane. I think I was pretty clear in both my testimony and my statement that when I went to look for that Volkswagen Tiguan at the school where she told me it was, that was really the point in time when it shifted for me, wholeheartedly shifted. And then from there, I think you know the rest of the story, but that's really when it shifted for me. I already answered the red flag question too in a different way, but I go, I won't say moment by moment, but each and every day, I don't leave things undone. I don't leave stones unturned. And if I can't get to it today, then I'm going to get to it tomorrow. And some people confuse that for me being a little bit too type A sometimes. But as you talk about red flags, I don't have any regrets about that relationship. I think I was clear that relationship also was coming to an end. And take that for whatever it means. But nothing that ever happened in that relationship or my relationship with Ganon's mom equals a dead child. So people, and I understand people like to do that, ask about red flags, and I'm not dogging you. That's a great question. But I'm not going to rip myself apart because somebody murdered my child. Nothing that happened in my entire life equals that little boy getting that treatment. So
absolutely. And in no way would that have put any blame on you, and didn't intend that with that question, because I think it's natural for people to want to figure out why when something this devastating happens. I know that must be a question for you all as well. I want to ask you a question that we also get from people who are watching this about trust. We did speak to Landon earlier today, and she said it'd be very difficult for her to ever trust someone again. And we saw you and your beautiful wife there giving those victim impact statements yesterday, and it's so wonderful to see that you all have this new family unit. You told Leticia that you weren't the glue. Can you talk about, for those who may be going through something similar, or they watch this and their trust is diminished a bit, how did you build that trust up again if you felt like you lost it in people?
first of all, I think the trust was ripped away by a specific person. So for me to take that out on the rest of the world is unjust and unfair, first of all. Second of all, I chance to share a little bit of our story. I met my wife through tragedy in both of our lives. So when you talk about trust, what other way could I trust a person? And I had those same questions. How can I ever get into a long-term serious relationship again? Would I be able to? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Then along comes my way someone who's also lost a child in a tragic fashion. So I think that answers the question for herself, that she understands, and I understand the level of trust and the level of difficulty would be to develop a new relationship considering what we've been through. And I just will sum it up with our motto, which is through tragedy we will triumph, and we are every single day. She brings joy into my life, and we are winning.
You showed a picture during your victim impact statements of Ganon holding the sign that said, I think I am a future soldier. What were some of the traits and characteristics that you saw in him already at 11 that you know would have been in him as an adult?
Oh, I think he just had a heart for people. And one theme, and I've carried that into my family now, but kindness. Just love and kindness is something that I tried to instill into Ganon and Elena at a very early age. And most of that was directed toward one another. I basically mandated that they be together coming home from the school bus or whatever situation, but just so that they'd understand the importance of people. I think the carpet incident is a great example of how I knew that was just, lack of a better word, a bunch of crap, because my children knew that people are the most important thing to me. We can get new carpet, we can get new games, we can get new houses. We can't get new people. And that's something I said to them often, and I say it still to my family today. The way we treat one another is what defines us. And that was a defining characteristic of Ganon. And I don't think he would have changed much. Yeah, he would have gone through his teenage and junior high years that we've talked about, that everybody goes through that.
So there we have it. The way we treat one another defines who we are. Okay, I'm confused. So if they met in grief counseling, who was he with the night before the tragedy? Was that a different lady? Well, there's more to this case than I am aware of. You guys know a lot more about it than I do. You guys know a lot more about it than I do. I don't know, though. The Lori Vallow Daybell one, I think she is just like pure evil. I think she is purely evil. And I think it's disgusting that there were so many murders going on that were just written off. One was written off in self-defense. The other one was written off as natural causes. And then her niece's husband got shot at, and evidently that didn't get anyone arrested either. Hokey Pete. And then Tylee and JJ both ended up dead as a result, in my opinion, of law enforcement who looked the other way. Her husband had a court order which would have protected him from being murdered, and it would have protected Tylee and JJ from being murdered also. And law enforcement looked the other way. Why? But when it comes to Leticia, she just looks and sounds just like over the top. Remember that one interview she gave to the reporter? Standing out in front of the house? Remember, she was so mad? Because I'm not sure, but I think Ganon's mom actually went and stayed at the house and she wasn't able to go home. Remember that in that interview? Ganon is missing. Obviously, she would have known at that point that Ganon was already murdered because she murdered him. And she stood there complaining and saying how, yeah, she wants Ganon to be found because then she wants people to apologize to her. I mean, that's just weird. Like, I think she's over the top. Not there. You know what I'm saying? Where Lori Vallow Daybell, I think she was an evil, plotting, bleh, icky person. Icky person. Yeah, these cases are bizarre. That's a good word for it. They're way over the top bizarre. It's just it's too weird. It is too weird how these weirdos actually have a position of caring for any minor child. Is everybody's radar broken or something? Like, all you have to do is see a picture of Leticia. You don't even have to hear her talk. And you can pretty much figure that you would never leave your child alone with her, wouldn't you? Or all you have to do is listen to 5 seconds of Lori Vallow Daybell speak, and you would know that you would never even want to do lunch with her, let alone go shopping, let alone sit around and try to rate people. I guess they had portals in their closets. So they would go climb into their closets, get down on their knees, and check in their portal to see what number the other people had, who they were planning on murdering, what number they had in their spiritual, identity that they picked, it sounds like, at random. I mean, one of the people who testified, the one who Chad told her that he wanted her to be Lori's friend, she testified that Chad told her that she was married to Jesus, I think. And that, yeah, she thought that was pretty important. Wow. Here's a hint for y'all. If any idiot ever tells you that you were married to Jesus, run. Run. I don't care if they say they're a minister. I don't care if they stand up front and say a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Run. You were not married to Jesus. What is it with those people that they were so wanting to spend their time, their energy, their money on trying to pretend that they had some superpower going on? Yes, it is a great litmus test. It certainly is. You weren't here, Critical Thinking, when we were talking about the whole affair thing. Lori Vallow was married to a man who was hot. He was built, and he was making $500,000 a year. And she cheated on that to spend time with a weirdo named Chad with funny looking lips. He has kind of like he has the look, you know how when you carve the pumpkins at Halloween, and if you leave them out on the front steps, you know how the pumpkins kind of sag a little bit? Especially if there's some rain and whatever, the pumpkin, the face will kind of like droop. That's what Chad Daybell looks like. He looks like an old jack-o'-lantern that needs to get thrown in the dumpster. He has very poor posture. He has forearms that are totally weak looking. And he has those weird lips. And then he just kind of stands there looking like a doofus. Like he's a doofus. And by the way, he's a doofus who murdered his wife, right? Well, I should say who allegedly murdered his wife, because he hasn't been convicted yet. But he's a total doofus. He is as dweeby as it gets. Her husband was a hottie. And she wants to cheat on him? With a doofus? I got news for you. If your lover boy is willing to kill his wife, probably becoming his wife is a bad idea. Just saying. Now, on that note, I'm really glad you guys came to say Happy Mother's Day to one and all. And a very special Happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you. Mother or not, I know that you're mothering children, maybe your sister's kids, maybe your neighbor's kids, your best friend's kids. That there's a mother in all of us. And you know what? Take some time today and remember your own mom, even if she's still in your heart, but not necessarily walking the planet anymore. If she is walking the planet, you dang well better make her day. Pick up the phone at least. Come on, kids. Right? I know some of you work. I know some of you are putting in really long hours, even on the weekends. But if you can, take some time for sure today, tomorrow, in the next couple days and make the day special for your mom. And if your mom's already passed on, then take some time today and remember your mom. Remember the love that your mom has for you. And remember, if it hurts, that's okay. Because if it hurts, then that's a testament to how important your relationship was. So it's okay to miss our moms. It's okay. And it's okay to hurt for a little bit. But be thankful. Be thankful for what you learned from your mom. Be thankful for the love that your mom gave you. Whether or not your mom is still with us, take time today and be thankful for your mom. So I'm going to find a song now. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since we've been chatting. I'm not sure if I can remember what I say. Let me think. Here we go. I'll try. Okay, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for being here. I really appreciate it. We'll do this again soon, very soon. Be safe. Be healthy. Be happy. And remember, being happy is a choice. Make the choice to be happy. Don't forget to take your vitamin D. Eat salmon. And I want each and every one of you to know how much I appreciate you guys being here. And I want each and every one of you to know that you are loved. Now let's get us some Elvis going on here. Come on, Elvis. What do we want to hear Elvis sing? Oops. Here we go. Here's YouTube. I'll just plug in Elvis and then I'll go with the first one. Ooh, okay. This one works. Here we go. Thanks again, you guys. I'm glad you guys were here. And we'll do this again, maybe even in a couple days. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I want safety for everyone, safety and good health. Drive careful and watch out for the guys behind you in their pickup trucks who want to rear end you. Ugh, that was terrible. Oh, I can hear the duck.
If you're asking about travel, dining,
drugstores, the answer is always cash back.
Okay, everyone have a really good night. Have a really good week.
cash back
And
like a
I'll
pro.
see you
Chase Freedom
soon.
Unlimited. How do you cash back? Chase,
Like
make
I said,
more yours.
maybe Wednesday. I'm thinking Wednesday. Here we go. Here's Elvis with Unchained Melody. Good night, everyone. Glad you were here.
My darling, I've hungered for your touch. So slowly, time can do so much for you. Still, Lord, I need your love. I need God's to lonely rivers flow to the sea. Through the open arms of the sea. Lonely rivers cry, wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming home, wait for me, for my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch. First. This is a song that I just recorded. It's an old song called Unchained Melody. I have to play the piano, so it'll take just a second. I don't know all the chords, so if you hear me, get my fingers caught and put in the keys back here, you know what it is. Now, Shawnee, you gotta make it your mind, son. Hold the microphone, put the scarf on, hold the ring, show me the right keys. Song is, I just recorded it and it, I don't know, is it out? Got 2 weeks. 2 weeks to be out? Unchained Melody. From an album called Unchained Melody. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. How you like it so far? Oh, my love, my darling, I hungered for your touch alone. Time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much for you. Still, I need your love. I need your love. God the rivers flow to the sea, to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. Only rivers cry, wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming home, wait for Time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much for you. Still, need your love. I need your love. my soul, set my soul on fire. Got a whole lot of you that's ready to burn, so get those stakes up higher. There's 1,000 pretty women waiting out there. They're all living the devil may care, and I'm just a devil with love and spare. So keep on, Lord, keep on, Lord, begging. How I wish that there were more than 24 hours in the day. Even if there were 40 more, I wouldn't sleep a minute away. Oh, it's blackjack and poker and the roulette. Logs on every deal. All you need is strong heart and a nerve of steel. Keep on, Las Vegas. Keep on, Las Vegas. Las Vegas will be on flashing and your one-arm band is crashing. Almost home down the drain. Las Vegas turning day into night, time turning night into daytime. If you see it once, you'll never be the same again. I'm gonna keep on the run, I'm gonna have me some fun. It cost me my very last time. If I wind up broke, well, I'll always remember that I had a swing in time. I'm gonna give it everything I've got. Lady love. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. For I can't help falling in love with you. Lord Almighty, feel my temperature rising. High, it's burning through to my soul. Girl, you gonna set me on fire. My brain is flaming, I don't know which way to go. Your kiss left me behind, like a sweet song on the fire. Like my morning sky, burning love. I feel my temperature rising. Hell me a flame, I must be hard tonight. Burning, 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 and nothing can cool me. I just might turn to smoke, but I'll be fine. 'Cause your kiss left behind, like the sweet song of fire. And you light my morning sky, burning love.
Rocket, we know buying and selling a home is a lot. Rocket has a way to help with that. When you sell with Rocket Homes, you can get up to $7,000 back after closing. Plus, you can